Okay, we've got the E6B turned to the wind side and ready to go to determine our wind correction angle and ground speed based on our true airspeed and winds aloft. So remember, if you ever forget how to do this, it should tell you at the top of the wind side how to do it. So our first step is to set our winds aloft, our wind direction 200 under the true index. Before we do that though, let's reset the E6B so that our grommet, which is this small hole right here, make sure that is aligned with the number 100, like so. And then we're going to set our wind speed of 200, or excuse me, wind direction 200 up here in the true index. Next step is to set the wind velocity up from the grommet and mark that. So if we consider this 100 to be the number 0 right now, then 110 would represent 10, 120 would represent 20. So 13, which is our wind velocity, would be, looks like right about there. So we'll make a mark with our pencil or a dry erase marker. Let's see, did I get that on the right spot? Yep, that's pretty close. Okay, next step is to set our true course under our true index. So our true course from our nav log is 307. So we're going to rotate the card to 307. Place that under the true index like so. We're going to slide our E6B so that mark that we made is on the line for our true airspeed of 112, which we have on our nav log. So 112, if this line here represents 110, then 112 will be slightly above that. So there's 110, 111, 112. So our mark that we made is now along the line, the circular line, so I have to show that to represent 112. So now we can find our ground speed right in the center, right underneath that grommet of 115. And our wind correction angle, the mark, this line here represents 5 degrees. So this line here represents 6 degrees. So that mark is on the 6 degree line. Because it's on the left side of the E6B, we're going to subtract 6 from our true course to determine our true heading. So that's a wind correction angle of -6. So the bottom box is where we put the wind correction angle of -6. And we're using the same winds aloft throughout the entire rate of flight, so we're going to use the same wind correction angle along the entire rate of flight. Our ground speed we said was 115, so we got a slight tailwind, which is good. So in our ground speed, for the estimated ground speed, we're not going to know the actual ground speed until we're in flight. We're going to place 115 in each row. Okay, now since we have our wind correction angle, we can determine our true heading, and since we have our variation, we can also determine our magnetic heading. So 307 minus 6 gives you a true heading of 301, minus 2 degrees gives you a magnetic heading of 299. So if you keep your heading on your heading indicator or HSI at 299, you will be on course as long as your planning is correct. There's no need to use GPS or anything like that to verify. If you trust your planning and you fly that heading, you should be going where you need to go. We'll continue on here. So this value is also 301 and 299, 301, 299, 301, 299, 301, 299. 301 is still our true heading here, but keep in mind that our variation has now changed. So now our magnetic heading is 298. 301, 298, 301, 298. 301, 298, 301, 298, 301, 298. Once again, our variations change, but our true heading remains 301, so our magnetic heading is now 297. Okay, so now we've got most of our navigation log filled out. We still have to determine our time between our checkpoints, which we'll use the wind side of the E6B, or excuse me, the slide rule side of the E6B to determine that. And we also need to determine how much fuel we're going to use as well, which we'll use the same slide rule side for that as well.